Asan short story. I remember lying awake at 3 a.m., the silence amplifying the crushing weight of another meaningless day stretching ahead. For years, I just drifted going through the motions, feeling stuck and invisible. I doubted if I had anything meaningful to offer the world. Then one Tuesday morning, I made a tiny decision. Instead of hitting snooze, I spent 15 minutes before work sketching in a forgotten notebook. No grand plan, just that small, almost accidental act sparked something. Slowly, I rediscovered my creative voice, my purpose. I built a small online portfolio, found a community. I felt alive again, truly seen. You might feel stuck too, waiting for a big sign. Don't. Today, choose one small step. Take 10 minutes for something you used to love or try one new thing that scares you a little. Full story. It was 3 a.m. again. Same cold, gray light from the street lamp outside filtered through my blinds, making the room feel even more desolate. I could practically smell the stale coffee from yesterday's mug on my bedside table. My stomach churned, not from hunger, but from the dull, persistent ache of dread. Another day, another cycle of simply existing, loomed. And I wasn't always like that. I had big dreams once like everyone, but somewhere along the line, after college I just stopped. The entry-level jobs turned into dead-end jobs. Each year felt like a rerun of the last. I'd watch friends launch careers, travel, build lives, and I felt utterly invisible. The gnawing feeling of wasted potential became my constant companion. I'd come home, flop onto the couch, scroll through feeds, and tell myself tomorrow. Tomorrow I'd figure it out. Tomorrow I'd start that project. Tomorrow I'd feel motivated. But tomorrow became today, and today looked exactly like yesterday. Comfort of the routine, even a painful one, was insidious. Kept me paralyzed, afraid to move, afraid to fail, but mostly afraid to admit I had nothing to show for myself. I questioned if I even had a voice, a unique contribution. Maybe some people were just meant to be background noise. That was my narrative for far too long. /n, the shift began on a Tuesday morning, not with a roar but with a whisper. I woke up with the usual sense of fatigue, but something felt different. Perhaps it was the sheer exhaustion of being exhausted. Instead of hitting snooze for the 5th time, I remembered an old, dust-covered sketchbook tucked away in a drawer. On a whim, I pulled it out. My hands trembled slightly as I found a pencil. I told myself, just 15 minutes. Before work. No pressure, no masterpiece, just draw. The first few lines were stiff, awkward. I hadn't sketched anything seriously since high school. But for those 15 minutes, the world outside the page faded. It was just me and the paper, trying to recreate the curve of my coffee mug. That tiny, defiant act was the first crack in the wall. /n, those 15 minutes became a sacred ritual. Every weekday morning, no matter how tired I was, no matter how much my internal critic scoffed, I sat down. Some days, the sketches were terrible, truly awful. I'd want to throw the book across the room, but I kept showing up. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the lines became surer. I started noticing details in the world around me, the way light hit a leaf, the shadows under a chair. I joined a small, local online art community, feeling terrified to share my amateur work. The first time I posted, my heart hammered. The feedback wasn't always glowing, but it was honest and it pushed me. I started missing happy hours, not out of obligation, but because I wanted to finish a piece. The feeling of bringing something from my mind into existence, even a simple charcoal drawing of an old shoe, was a quiet thrill. There were weeks where I felt no progress, where every stroke felt forced. Rejections from small online art calls stung, reinforcing that old narrative of you're not good enough. But that little voice, the one that had started with 15 minutes, just kept whispering, keep going. It wasn't about being an artist. It was about showing up for myself. /n, the real breakthrough didn't come when I sold my first piece, though that was exhilarating. It happened much earlier, during one of those quiet mornings. I was sketching a tree outside my window, tracing the intricate pattern of its branches. And for the first time, I wasn't judging. I wasn't aiming for perfection. I was simply observing, creating. I realized the profound joy wasn't in the destination, but in the act itself. The external validation became a bonus, but the internal transformation, the reclaiming of my agency, that was the true prize. One day, a friend saw my online portfolio and connected me with a local cafe looking for art. My pieces, imperfect as they were, hung on a wall. Seeing people pause, genuinely looking at something I had created, was surreal. But the biggest shift was internal. The gnawing dread had been replaced by a quiet sense of purpose. I was no longer just existing. I was creating. I had found my voice, not by looking for it, but by building it stroke by stroke. /n, what I learned, what you can learn too, is this. It's not about finding your passion, it's about creating it. It's about the relentless, often unglamorous, consistency of showing up. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Don't wait for a grand plan. Just choose one tiny, repeatable action. Show up for yourself, even for 15 minutes. Momentum will build. The path will reveal itself. You don't have to be brilliant from day one. You just have to be willing to start, and then be willing to keep going, even when it feels pointless. /n, that version of me, lying awake at 3 a.m., felt trapped and helpless. Today I still have tough days, but I have a tool. I have the knowledge that I can build something, rebuild something, one small, consistent step at a time. The world isn't waiting for your perfect, finished product. It's waiting for you to begin. It's waiting for you to show up. You have more within you than you know. Don't let the fear of not knowing the whole path stop you from taking the first step. You are capable of so much more than you realize. /n today, choose one small step. Dedicate just 10 minutes to something you keep putting off, or try one new thing that sparks a tiny bit of curiosity. Sessioned, E8F3A1B2C, 4D56E7F8A9B0C1D2E3, F4A5B.